She didn't hesitate when she walked away. No second thoughts, no guilt, no looking back. I wasn't enough for her, not back then. I didn't have the success, the wealth, the status she craved. And so she left, chasing a better life with someone else. I let her go. I didn't fight for her. I didn't beg. I simply watched her turn her back on me, believing she had won. But what she didn't know was that I wasn't done. I built myself from the ground up. I became everything she once wanted, everything she thought I could never be. And now, after all this time, she's the one standing at my door. But the difference is, now I don't want her anymore. I still remember the night she told me. She wasn't cruel about it. She didn't yell or insult me. She just sat there, staring at me with cold, detached eyes, and said the words that changed everything. I can't do this anymore. At first, I thought she meant the argument we just had, the stress we were under, the financial struggles we were trying to fight through. But then she said it. I deserve more. I deserve more. Those 3 words cut deeper than any knife ever could. I wasn't enough for her. Not the late nights of hard work, not the love I gave her, not the future I was trying to build for us. She wanted more now. And someone else was offering it. He can give me the life I want, she said, her voice steady, almost rehearsed. I didn't beg. I didn't cry. I didn't even get angry. I just sat there, staring at the woman I once thought would stand by me through anything. And then I did the only thing left to do. I let her go. She walked out without looking back. And I made a promise to myself that night. One day she would regret it. The night she left, I didn't sleep. Not because I was heartbroken that part had already died the moment she chose someone else. No, I stayed awake because I knew this was the beginning of something new. She wanted more? Fine. I would become more. I worked harder than I ever had before. Every hour of struggle, every door that closed in my face, every setback, I used them as fuel. I poured everything into my business, my career, my life. While she was out there, enjoying the luxury she traded me for, I was in the trenches, building something bigger than even she could imagine. The world tried to break me. I let it. Because I knew something she didn't. Pain is temporary. But power is permanent. Months turned into years. My name started to mean something. The same people who once doubted me were now calling, wanting to be a part of my success. The same businesses that rejected me were now offering partnerships. I became everything I told her I would be. But the best part? I never once thought about her. Until the day she came back, it started with a message. A simple, hesitant text. Hey, it's been a long time. How have you been? I stared at the screen, amused. She had no idea. She had no clue how much had changed. I didn't reply. Then came another message. I saw your interview. I'm really proud of you. Proud? Now she was proud? Where was this pride when I was struggling? When I was picking up the pieces of my life while she was outliving hers? I left the message on read. And then, just like that, the calls started. Once, twice, every few days. She was reaching, desperate, trying to find a way back in. But I wasn't the man she left behind. And she wasn't the woman I once loved. So, when she finally asked to meet, I didn't refuse. Because I wanted her to see it. To see everything she lost. To feel the weight of her biggest mistake. She arrived early just like I knew she would. Sitting at the restaurant table, fidgeting with the napkin in her lap, trying to look composed. But I could see it, the nerves, the regret, the unspoken thoughts racing through her mind. When I finally walked in, she looked up, and in that single moment, I saw everything. The way her breath hitched, the way her eyes widened, taking in the man in front of her. I wasn't the struggling, exhausted man she walked away from. I was powerful now, confident. The suit I wore wasn't borrowed. The watch on my wrist wasn't a cheap knockoff. The way I carried myself, that was a man who knew his worth. And she was exactly the same. Except for one thing, she wasn't the one in control anymore. Wow, she breathed, forcing a smile. You look different. I am, I replied simply, taking my seat. She let out a nervous laugh, tucking her hair behind her ear like she used to when she felt uncertain. I guess a lot has changed, she said softly. I leaned back, watching her. Yeah, it has. She exhaled, her fingers gripping the glass of water in front of her. She was waiting for me to make this easy. I wouldn't. So, I said after a long pause, why are we here? And just like that, the act was over. Her face fell slightly. She knew I wasn't playing her game. She swallowed hard, forcing herself to speak. I just wanted to see you. To talk. I know I messed up. I made a mistake. I tilted my head. Which part? Leaving me? Or realizing I turned out just fine without you? She flinched. She wasn't expecting that. And for the first time, I saw it, the full weight of her regret. She left me when I was nothing. And now? Now, she was the one left with nothing. She swallowed hard, struggling to keep her composure. It wasn't like that, she whispered, shaking her head. I didn't leave because I didn't love you. I was just scared. I thought I needed more, but I didn't realize. Didn't realize what? I cut in, my voice steady. That I was worth more than you gave me credit for? Silence. She lowered her gaze, unable to meet my eyes. I know I hurt you, she admitted, and I hate myself for it. I should have believed in you. I should have stayed. I should have. But you didn't, I finished for her. She looked up at me, desperation flickering in her eyes. I just want a second chance. I leaned forward slightly, watching her hold on to the last shred of hope she had left. Let me ask you something, I said, my voice calm, composed. If your life had turned out the way you planned, if he hadn't left you, would you still be sitting here right now? The question hit like a bullet. She froze. Her breath caught in her throat. Her fingers clenched against the napkin in her lap. She wanted to say yes. She wanted to lie. But we both knew the truth. And in that moment, I saw it in her eyes, the realization. It wasn't me she missed. It was the security, the life she thought she could come back to, the man she once underestimated but now couldn't have. I chuckled softly, shaking my head. That's what I thought. And just like that, her last hope shattered. I pushed my chair back and stood up, sliding my hands into my pockets. I think we're done here, I said. She blinked rapidly, as if trying to stop the tears threatening to spill. Wait, please, she whispered. Can we at least talk? I don't want to lose you forever. I exhaled slowly, staring down at her. You lost me the moment you walked away, I said. The only difference is, now, you finally realize it. And with that, I turned and walked away without a single glance back. She had left me when I was nothing. And now? She had to live with the fact that she would never be part of the man I had become. As I stepped outside, the air felt lighter. I once thought revenge meant making someone suffer. But the truth? The greatest revenge is becoming someone they can never have again. Some people don't regret losing you. They regret losing the version of themselves they were when they had you. And when they finally realize that, it's already too late. The end.